Well, yes, there are rules for integrating products of powers of sine and cosine. Two cases indeed. In either case, the gist is to turn everything into just either sine or cosine. Spoiler alert, you'll see applications of both rules in just a moment. Here, we have the first case where both powers of sine and cosine are either 0 or an even integer. Our goal is to turn everything into cosine. First step, we have to see sine square and cosine square as the basic units. So here we treat the fourth power of cosine x as the square of cosine x. Then, we can use the half-angle identities to get rid of sine square and cosine square. Well, you may also think of using two particular versions of the double angle formula for cosine. They are just two sides of the same token. As a result, we get cosine 2x as the only trigonometric function sitting here and there in the integrand. As seen earlier, we have one of the basic units raised to the power of 2. We then expand that cos 2x expression. This is a binomial expansion in general for higher power. To proceed further, we need to first clean up the integrand. Expand the very last term. Then collect like terms: constant, linear, quadratic, cubic. As you can see, the integrand has become a polynomial in cosine 2x, so we will work on the integrals of each term one by one. Another little housekeeping thing before we move on. Since we have an 1/8 hanging around before the whole integral, we will first name the original integral as I, and then we can gather all the separated integrals as 8I. Let's just also label each integral as I sub, something that echoes the power of the cosine 2x it contains. I will call them integral 0, integral 1, and so on. Let's label this equation using a star. Okay, now let's get to the meat. The first two integrals are pretty straightforward though. Integral 0 is x plus any constant. Integral 1 requires just a simple change of variable. So, rewriting dx as 1/2 of d2x, we have something like integrating cosine theta with respect to theta, so we get sine 2x. Now, integral 2 falls into the same category like the original integral. Power of cosine is even, and power of sine is 0. So applying the half-angle identity for cosine with the full angle being 4x, we get this. Split the integral into 2. The second one is familiar. Instead of 2x, we have 4x. So change a variable again. d4x is 4 times dx. That makes the second integral look like integrating cosine theta with respect to theta. So for that, we have sine 4x, and here is integral 2. All right, finally here is integral 3. This time we have the third power of cosine 2x, and so we come across the second case, that is, at least one of two powers is positive odd integer. In this case, our goal is to turn everything into sine. To do so, we spare one copy of cosine 2x for making a change of variable. Besides, we also express dx as 1/2 of d2x to echo the argument of cosine. Now, we can turn the remaining two copies of cosine 2x into an expression with sine 2x using the fundamental trigonometric identity. The derivative of sine 2x with respect to 2x is cosine 2x, so the spin-off copy of cosine 2x can be absorbed into the differential of sine 2x along with the d2x. Turns out, this is the two simpler integrals that we know how to do. The first one is like integrating 1 with respect to u. The second one is like integrating u squared with respect to u. We get just u from the first one, and 1/3 times u cubed from the second one. Here we go. That's integral 3. Great. All of the hard work has been done. Now, plugging all four integrals back into equation star. And combining all arbitrary constants, we get this. Collect like terms. Factor out 1/2. Multiply through the whole thing by 8. This is our original integral I. All right, problem solved. I hope you enjoy this video, and I'll see you in the next one.